A first listen and analysis of What Is and What Should Never Be by Led Zeppelin. Here we go. This is the second track of Led Zeppelin 2. Fun fact for you guys, this is one of the very first songs of Led Zeppelin to be recorded using Jimmy Page's iconic Gibson Les Paul guitar, which he would use to go on and record some of the most iconic songs of all time. And just before we get into the actual song, I just wanted to highlight my favorite comment from the last video of me covering a Led Zeppelin song, which was Whole Lot of Love. This is from Al Petrocelli, great surname. Remember, this came out when stereo recording was still in its infancy. The first time I listened to this album with headphones, I felt they were playing right through my head. I was blown away, one of the top 3 songs of all time. Great comment by Al. I can imagine being a young person having new technology to be used, right? This is the idea of stereo recording, where you can do things like panning from left to the right and all these crazy effects that Led Zeppelin were utilizing at the time and others weren't, and just like kind of looking at yourself like, what the hell am I listening to? It's an absolutely bonkers psychedelic metal track, and great comment by Al. Here we go. This is Led Zeppelin, What Is and What Should Never Be, which is a great title for a song.
And if I say to you tomorrow, take my hand, child, come with me.
Very cool, smooth song.
It's to a castle I will take you.
Dreamy, you know? We're in like a fantasy right now.
To be, they say, will be.
I kiss the wind and see it spin, sail away, leave the day way up high in the sky. And won't, but the wind won't blow. We really shouldn't go. It only goes to show that you will be mad by taking that style.
Okay, I love this dynamic. I always have. Anyone who's watched my Nirvana videos, I love how they go from the quiet to loud dynamics. And this is, I guess, where they've learned this sort of style from. It really sounds like you're in like a fantasy land in the verse, right? I think that's what's going to happen throughout this song. You go from chorus, so from the soothing tones of the verse into the chaos of the chorus. I love it already. Let's back it up again.
By taking that style.
Those guitars are so thick. Oh, great bass line.
And if you say to me tomorrow,
Nice and cool again.
oh, what fun it all would be. Then what's to stop us, pretty baby? But what is and what should never be?
One thing I love about Plant's voice is he uses it like an instrument. You know, the way he is contorting it and distorting it, the vocal effects that they're adding on it certainly does that too. I heard that on Whole Lot of Love, which is the previous track to this one, and they really do a good job at making him sound like his own instrument, almost like a guitar. You know, the way they distort it, he'll shout, he'll scream. Sometimes he won't be even saying words. He's literally just making noises, and it just all creates for almost a secondary guitar on top of what Page is doing.
I catch the wind, see it spin, sail away, leave the day way up high in the sky. And won't, but the wind won't blow. Really shouldn't go, only goes to show that you will be mad by taking that time.
Love how dirty and grimy those guitars almost sound, which is super cool that they've decided to do that, right? They go from the dream state of the verse into the dirty, grimy chaos of the chorus. I love that he's added, or they've chosen to add that texture to those guitars and the thickness of them as well. The thickness of the bass and the guitar together. They work so well.
Mad by taking that time.
Smooth again. Harmonies too. The battle of peace and then the passion that comes through on those choruses. Look. Here we go. So to go into the lyrics a little bit, I really like what he's doing, right? He's trying to build up a case of almost the romanticized version of what like love and relationships is from the woman's standpoint, right? He goes, "Oh, what fun it would be. Then what's to stop us, pretty baby? But what is and what should never be," right? And then it kicks into the chaos of the chorus. He sets this fantasy land in the verse of everything's okay, and if you say to me tomorrow all our dreams are still as new, everything is good, right? And then he kicks into the madness of the chorus, which is probably the more realistic aspect of what their relationship together would be: chaos, fighting, shouting. Really, really love that concept.
If you wake up with the sunrise and all your dreams are still as new, and happiness is what you need so bad.
He sounds like he's underwater.
It's alive with you, yeah. I can't wait to see it been sail away, leave the day way up high in the sky. And but the wind won't blow, we really shouldn't go. It only goes to show you will be mine by taking our time.
What a kind of strange song. They've got like these harmonies that belong on like the Beach Boys, sort of a Beach Boys song. They have the chaos that exists in a Led Zeppelin track, and then they've got this vocal effect that's being put on Plant's voice, which I now know was then used later on when the levee breaks. So what that kind of tells me is that they're still, even in the second album, they're in an experimental phase. They're trying new things. They're pushing their boundaries, right? And they eventually go on to master all these things. And I guess Led Zeppelin 4, but they're pushing new horizons almost at this point, right? Trying out new sounds. So it's crazy to think that while they're being experimental, trying things that they've never done before, that they're still pulling off great music. Panning effect, two guitars. It's really, really cool experience to hear what would eventually happen in No Quarter, what eventually happens in When the Levee Breaks, to hear it first when they're trying it out, and also having kind of witnessing this style that Plant had, where he's freestyling. In hip-hop we call it freestyle rap, where essentially you go onto the microphone and you don't have a plan of what you're going to say. You come up with the lyrics and the words as they come to you. It's like an art within rapping in hip-hop music, and it's cool to see Plant does a similar thing here, right? He does it quite often when they're doing live performances, which I've learned about, but here he's doing it again, which I think with the outro is a freestyle. Hey ho, but the wind won't blow and we really shouldn't go. It's like bits of poetry that he has in his head, and then he goes into just literally like random words, do 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 do. It's all about the melody and the effects, how he feels in that moment essentially. But great track overall, man. Love this song. I would say that so far the sound is definitely different from the first album. They're doing new things. It sounds almost like they've gone even more experimental, which is hard to say after the first album. because you had tracks like Dazed and Confused on there and Communication Breakdown, which was just bonkers. They were wild. They're trying out all new sounds. They're doing it again, even more so. They're going more abstract, which is brilliant. Like how mainstream Led Zeppelin is, how they affected music, but they did it while being experimental, pushing their own boundaries and trying new things as artists. It's very cool to see. It's quite eye-opening too. Great song, man. On to the next one.